Good morning, everyone. So, day 32 hormone bootcamp. Today, I'm going to talk about, we're going to continue to talk on Ayurvedic herbs. So, milk thistle seed is the herb that I'm going to focus on today. I talked about turmeric, I talked about Bacopa monnieri, and today I'm talking about milk thistle seed. And then I got a couple other things that I think are also going to really help you out. So, let's start out with milk thistle seed. And here's a story. The way that I actually came across milk thistle seed is actually something that I believe is really going to maybe open up your eyes, for some of you who are dealing with, low thyroid function. That's basically where my journey started, was trying to figure out, why I was fatigued all the time, why I was losing my hair, why I was gaining weight out of control, had brain fog and all these things going on. And as I trace it back, I know that one of the things that actually um, root of a lot of my issues was alcohol. So for those of you who haven't figured it out, or this is the first time you're watching my videos, I was a home brewer and I used to teach how to brew beer. So I basically had a kegerator, basically like 5 kegs full of home brewed beer, which were very tasty. And they were just easy to access, right there at home. That's what I used to do. Just basically, I would brew beer and drink it. And in fact, that was the name of my website, brewbeeranddrinkit.com. Anywho, so I went on this trip to Europe, and this was around 2012 when I first started. And so on this trip to Europe, we basically landed in Germany, and we're trying to do a tour of Eastern Europe, going through Prague, like Czech Republic, Vienna, Austria. We did basically all the way from that north part all the way down to Istanbul and Turkey anyways. So while we were in Germany, which was our entry point, our first night out there, we went out drinking. And we ended up having, like, I don't know, I lost count at, like, I think 12 or 13 shots. And my friend who I was with said we did a little bit more than that. But the point is, I woke up the next day, obviously with the worst hangover ever. I believe I had alcohol poisoning. And that's really where a lot of my issues like really started to just get out of control. That's when like my weight I just ballooned up, went from like size 32 to size 34. And within a couple of weeks, the size 34s were not even fitting me. And there was just all these things that were going on. So through my research, I basically, kind of figured that I probably did some damage to my liver. And as I was researching, a lot of this, basically a lot of my, a lot of the things that I was looking at the time, I was so focused. I was so focused on the thyroid because I just thought, oh, I have low thyroid function, and that's why my body's not producing thyroid hormone. And that was basically where I was at. But this is one of the actual first lessons that I learned that actually allowed me to really step out of this little, what I'm going to call like a thyroid world or a thyroid community, where I see a lot of people who've been on medication for years, and all they really do is they just go to their doctor to adjust their dose, and they never get better. And I kept seeing that over and over. And I said, there's got to be something else. And basically everyone's just so focused on their thyroid. And I basically started to take a look, step back, and just started to look at the body as a whole, and started to look at other parts other than the thyroid for thyroid function, and said, you know what? The thyroid does produce thyroid hormone, but the thyroid hormone that is produced by the thyroid is the inactive form called T4. And it's actually the liver that takes that thyroid hormone T4 and converts it into the thyroid hormone T3, which is the active form. That's the actual thyroid hormone that the body uses. And actually, to take it a step further, when your body produces T3 can actually become reverse T3. So really what you are looking for is free T3. And so that's really where a lot of these Ayurvedics came into the picture for me, as I realized, like, okay, I can do a good job of producing hormones, right? And well, here's the lesson actually. The first lesson is your thyroid could actually be producing thyroid hormone, T4, But if your liver isn't converting that thyroid hormone T4 into T3, then you're still going to experience all of these issues. And that's basically what I learned for myself. Basically, I realized, hey, I'm having a T4 to T3 conversion problem, not so much a thyroid problem. And that's why I started to realize, so there's people who, they're basically taking T4, some sort of T4 supplement, but then if their liver isn't converting that T4 into T3, then taking that supplement is just a waste of money because the body's basically not able to take those nutrients and actually use them up, right? And so that's why I talk a lot about, gut health is not only about eating the right foods, you also have to make sure that the body can actually take those nutrients and absorb them. You have to be able to digest them and absorb them, right? And that's basically what, the whole process is. T4, for it to be converted into T3, that's basically like digestion, right? It's the same process. And that happens in the liver. And so a lot of these Ayurvedic herbs, that's basically what they help you do, is basically help you with liver function. And milk thistle seed is actually one of the, I call it Ayurvedic herb, but it's really one of the, main things that I've used to help clean out my liver. In fact, if you watch my videos, I want to say a couple of weeks ago, or something like that, I was doing a citrus cleanse. And one of the drinks that I was drinking was basically lemon. It was a lemon cayenne pepper based drink, and I had chlorella and milk thistle seed. Right. Again, that's where I started to use. So like all of these Ayurvedic herbs that I'm sharing with you guys this week is basically I'm taking like the best of the best that I have found and just giving them to you in like one simple package to basically, just save you time and money looking around for all these stuffs. But for anyone who is serious, like I do have all of these Ayurvedic herbs on, I buy them separate as well and have other uses for them. But I think of those as more advanced uses, which I will be talking about later on. But for this program, this is why, like, if you just focus on these 5, you're going to notice all of these differences that I'm talking about these last couple of days. And so that's basically why I started to use milk thistle seed, is because I realized that I had I'd done some liver damage to myself. And basically this was part of my recovery. So it's actually milk thistle seed and coconut oil combined. That is what I used to improve liver function, because again, the liver is what takes the thyroid hormone T4 and converts it into T3. So that was basically my focus. And that's what I have been doing for a number of years. And I'm just sharing this with you. So that being said, actually today I have my green smoothie. And so I want to talk about a little bit about setbacks, falling behind and things like that. I was planning on doing block fasting this whole week in preparation for week 6. But the last couple of days, I think I was detoxing a little bit too much. And so one thing I want to say about that is that it's okay to take a step back. Now, some of you are going to say for me to take a step back, this is what taking a step back looks like, is instead of doing block fasting, I go back to my ketogenic smoothie. And some of you are saying well, no, you're still ahead of me. Well, what I want you to think about is if you started Hormone Bootcamp and you're still hydrating, that's still a step forward. You are still ahead of most people, because most people don't even have that habit. It's such a simple habit. Just wake up and hydrate first thing in the morning. That's it. So simple to do, but it's so easy not to do. And so if you're doing that, if you're actually taking that as a habit, then congratulate yourself. Celebrate your small victories. A big win is nothing more than a lot of small little wins combined. And that's basically what makes up a big victory. It's just all these small little wins put together. And so think 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So if you started with with hydrating, and then you moved on to vitamin D and said, you know what, I fell off track. I didn't take my vitamin D. But if you're still hydrating, you're still ahead. If you did, hydrating, if you start to take your vitamin D and then you did your nutrients and then you stop there, which I'm telling you, a lot of people fell off right around week 3. If you're still hydrating, you're still ahead, right? You're still creating that habit. Remember, there's 3 habits that you're really looking for throughout this program. Number one is hydrating. Number two is probiotics. And then the third one is the last one is basically intermittent fasting, right? So today I'm still doing intermittent fasting. I woke up, I hydrated, did my gratitude journal. I'm intermittent fasting. Now I'm doing, ketogenic today, just because I don't want to fast, that much today. I'm still doing my Ayurvedic herbs. And today I'm actually, I'm not doing beef organs, really this week, especially today, I'm doing all my nutrients are coming from, a plant-based source. So I'm doing my blue-green algae, which I would pull out and show you, but I'm driving. That's where I'm getting a lot of my nutrients, same nutrients that come in a lot of these beef organs, except it's just plant-based. And then, coenzyme Q10, which is the other, the other supplement that, that I shared for week 5. And today I'm actually going to be going live inside of the Facebook group because I want to talk about, food, right? I want to finish this topic on food and give you like the full spectrum of where I am going with food and what Beer Diet Project is about. And so just to give you a little bit of preview of what I'm going to be talking about. One thing that I've mentioned is that the beef organs have practically all of the nutrients that I know are, missing in a lot of people's diet, especially people with autoimmune conditions. We're talking about selenium, coenzyme Q10, choline, manganese, and there's all these minerals, right? I shared with you all the minerals that I use to basically help with digestion and things like that. But anyways, so the nutrients that are in beef organs, right? They're very good nutrients. And the way that I think of these, the difference between, for example, the coenzyme Q10 that you will get from beef organs, whether it's, primarily the beef liver, taking that and comparing it to the coenzyme Q10 that comes in the Ayurvedic herbs that I shared with you guys on, for week 5, and that's a plant-based source of coenzyme Q10. You can also find it in things like spinach, broccoli, and I don't know, there's a variety of plants. It's the same nutrient, right? Coenzyme Q10, but there's a difference that a lot of people don't know or don't understand. And the best way that I can explain it is through music, right? And this is why I use sound as, this is where my interest in sound comes in. I was a sonar technician in the Navy, so I like to study sound. But basically the way that I think of this difference is if you look at a piano or a guitar and you look at a scale, the ABCs of music, right? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, they all repeat. But if you go up the scale, it goes from a low pitch to a high pitch. So the frequency goes and changes. So like if you have, one note, at a higher note, it could be 110 hertz. And then at a higher frequency, the next octave, basically, then it becomes double, right? 220. And if you go to the next octave, it doubles again, 440, and then 880. So anyways, this is how I think of food. Animal-based diet versus plant-based diet. Animal-based diet is more of a low frequency type of food. Plant-based diet is a higher frequency type of food. And this is why, for me, I find that animal-based diets is really good for healing the physical body. So if you have, like I said, I had a damaged liver. That's why I was okay with eating beef liver, because I needed that for, for healing, for the physical healing side of it. But now that is done, now I want to actually be able to tap into my creativity, right? To feed the mind. And the way that I do that is by moving away from low frequency foods and starting to add more high frequency foods into my diet. And that's where a plant-based diet has become really, really helpful. So again, this is just a preview, but this is what I'm going to be talking about in tonight's live inside of the Facebook group. If you're not in the Facebook group, I have the link in the description of this live video. It's also on my Facebook fan page, where you can send me a message if you can't find it with those two. But anyway, so 7 p.m. Tonight in Arizona, so that's Mountain Standard Time. We do not do daylight savings time, so I don't know how to calculate that. You guys that are out of state, I guess we'll have to figure that out. Just Google it. But anyway, so I'll see you guys there at 7 p.m. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys are enjoying, week 5. It's all about detoxing. And one last thing with detoxing. The reason why I'm taking a step back, like I said, is because when you're detoxing, I can't tell you how to do this. Like, I really can't. I wish I could, but like the reason why I'm taking a step back today and not doing block fasting is because I can just tell that my detox is just a little bit too much and my sleep hasn't been as good, these last couple of days. And so that's basically me intuitively knowing, it's like, hey, you know what? I think I need to step back a little bit. But it's okay. Like, it's okay. I'm still mineralizing. I'm still, I'm still hydrating. I'm still doing a little bit of intermittent fasting, right? I'm just not doing like all the way up till dinner. I'm basically just breaking my fast like right around noon. But most importantly, I'm listening to my body. And that's something that you are going to have to learn how to do, is listen to your body and just understand that, hormone production and hormone balance, you're just going to have to, learn how to do that, because your body can produce hormones, but if it's not balancing out those hormones, then you need to basically figure out, okay, what's the next step? Like if like I said, if your thyroid hormone, for example, if your thyroid is producing thyroid hormone, but you still feel like, there's still something wrong. Hey, maybe look into the liver. Is the liver converting that thyroid hormone T4 into T3? If you feel like that's actually going on, but you may feel like you're still not quite, there where you need to be, maybe start looking into checking to see if the thyroid hormone T3, if that's maybe being turned into reverse T3, right? And how do you free it up? I'll be talking about it. I'll be talking about that later, but basically, it's something else that I use. Another herb that I use is Tonkatali, which I use to basically free up hormones like testosterone. Same thing. You can produce testosterone, but really you're not just looking for total testosterone. You're looking for free testosterone, right? So all these hormones can be bound up by proteins like albumin, or in the case of testosterone, there's the sex binding globulin hormone, SBGH, right? And so that's something that intuitively you're going to basically just feel. For me, one way that I can tell is like my sleeping patterns. In the case of testosterone, I can tell by, when I go to the gym, am I feeling strong, right? I'm 165 pounds, and last time I went to the gym, I've been taking a break for a week or so, give my, my shoulder a little bit of a break. But last time that I went to the gym, I was bench pressing 210 pounds. Now, for 165, for being 165 pounds, that's a pretty good ratio. That's a lot of strength. And I'm telling you, like, I do like mostly water and these smoothies. Like, people's like, where's the protein? Trust me, when you understand food, when you understand what I understand, guys, your life is just going to change. Now, that's really what I'm looking for more than anything. Sorry, one last thing. I saw a couple messages, a couple people that I'm seeing participating. And I'm just glad to see some of you that, maybe got off track and, now you're back. I got a message today from this one guy who, he just couldn't get the ingredients. He lives in India and it's just way too expensive to get some of these products. But he sent me a picture today. It's like, dude, I made it happen. So it's amazing to see that, no matter what, that people are like not letting things like that get in the way. And also seeing like some people that are going through the replay and they're engaging, and I'm actually, they're posting like their success stories just with water and minerals alone. Guys, that makes me so happy. You guys cannot, even like, I can even explain like how happy it makes me to see people succeed and, get results with all this information. So keep up the great work. And I hope to see you guys tonight at 7 p.m. inside of the Facebook group. Have a great rest of your Thursday and talk to you later.